Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the student panel for the International Business Administration program here at RSM. My name is Amy Janssen-Brennan. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admission. And basically the purpose of this panel is to allow you guys to ask any questions you have about studying here at RSM. So basically I'm gonna have our student panel of second-year students introduce themselves and give you a little information about why they chose to study here at RSM. Just a bit of information before we start. This panel is supposed to be kind of general, so if you have any specific questions that are really specific only to your situation, I would like to ask you not to ask them here, but to save those specific questions for the panel afterwards. So you can go downstairs after the presentation and ask any of our staff members or any number of student ambassadors we have walking around. So without further ado, I would like to ask our student panel to introduce themselves.
Yep. Hello. Hi, my name is Chaitanya Mehta. I am a second-year IBA student here at the university. I was born and brought up in the Netherlands, but I've lived most of my life in India. I did the IB in India, and after that I came here to study. The reason as to why I chose IBA was because of its internationality. You have more than 60% of your classroom is international. Also, with the curriculum, it's very open. It's not, it doesn't restrict you to one path of specialization. You're free to explore different functions of business. So that's me, and that's why I chose RSM.
My name is Max. I'm from Germany. I did the German Abitur. And I joined RSM basically because obviously the international experience, but also for the practical experience, because it's really, you apply the theory knowledge you gain through the studies in the real field, and I really value this, and this is basically how I found my way to RSM.
Hello everyone, my name is Hans. I'm a Dutch student, second year as well. Why I chose IBA is because I wanted to develop my English skills. I wanted to definitely do a business school, and on top of that, I really liked the international aspect of this program.
Hi everyone, my name is Eva Telau. I did VWO or VWO. I come from a very small town inside the middle of the Netherlands called Nunspeet, and I decided to study here because it is a very broad program. I did not really know what I liked, but I knew that I wanted to pursue a career in business, and that's why I decided to study here, because it was very broad, and of course the international atmosphere, which is really fun.
Excellent. Who has a question? It's always a bit scary, the first question in the audience. Maybe before we start, get you into it, show of hands, who here has done a VWO diploma, or is doing that right now? Show of hands. A lot of people. What about International Baccalaureate? Also quite a lot. Abitur from Germany? A few German students. French Baccalaureate? What about a Belgian diploma? Okay, pretty mixed bag already. Something that a lot of people want to know is how easy is it to find housing in Rotterdam? Maybe you guys can, maybe from an international perspective, and maybe one of the Dutch students.
From international, for my challenge, I started kind of early looking for an apartment, or not early, but as soon as I knew I was accepted into RSM, and as soon as I knew I'm going to choose RSM, I already started looking a bit, but where I really got in depth was around June, July. For me, because I'm from Germany, it was a little bit more easier in terms of it's I'm from the area Bonn, so it's 2.5 hours by car, so I could check out some flats, but I still had to come. Lately, it's a little bit challenging to find a room. Nevertheless, if you start early and you don't follow behind, it's everybody finds a place. In the end, we have no students living on the streets or something like that. It's everybody has a place in the end, and especially if you start early and now, hey, I want to go to RSM, the university itself, they have Hata and Xia and some other buildings where they offer rooms. So if you apply there early, you get your room. So everybody finds a place. So it's not easy, but it's normal difficulty to find a place.
Yeah, from a Dutch perspective, the same. Start early and you will probably end up with a place. My personal tip is to also join Facebook groups. There are a lot of them, also about Rotterdam. In comparison with other cities, Rotterdam isn't that hard as Amsterdam, for example, but you still need to start early and just look, pay attention to what is out there, and join a few Facebook groups and start early.
Thanks. It's hard to see. Any first question? Here we go. Question here.
How does a regular class look like? A regular class lesson? What's like the typical setup of how you go through a day in Rotterdam?
Just to repeat the question, what does a typical day in the life of a student look like?
So basically, it differs a lot per day. You have, I'm trying to look where you are, but it's both lectures and workshops mostly. But I think at least half of your time you'll spend on self-study. So the amount of lectures and workshops, at least that time, you have to study at home or at university entirely on yourself. And then you will see that it differs per block how your schedule looks like. So you can have like 1 or 2 lectures a day, or not at all. You're like basically free. Let's say no official school lessons, on which the workshops are mandatory and the lectures are normally not mandatory.
Question here. We have microphones, so just to make sure everyone hears your question.
How many hours of independent study per week?
I mean, I think like when you look at the course manual, they say like so many hours you need per course. And I think it's like full-time bachelors or like 40 hours, including self-study and meeting. But it completely depends on the person, because I know some people who pass the courses and don't study that much, and I know people who really start high. It depends on the aims you want to have. And what like from my personal side is I think you have a lot of time available to pursue your personal activities, join a student association, do your sports. So I think there's time for that. So I can't really put an amount of hours. Obviously, during exams times, you spend more time studying, but it depends on what kind of person you have and what time we're talking about. I don't know if it's different for you.
No, I agree. It depends really on the person. So it depends whether you can study under pressure or whether you're good with studying from the beginning, doing little by little every day and then building up to the exam, or just cramming everything in the end, which is quite popular actually. So I don't do that, but personally I believe in doing a little by little every day. At least I try to do little by little every day, and by the time exams come, I'm pretty well prepared for what's going to come. But like Max said, it depends on the student.
Another question? Here, this one here.
Is it a disadvantage because the study is in numerous fixes? Is that a disadvantage or just an advantage?
That depends.
Wait, yeah, I don't think we understood the question. Can you repeat your question?
This
Yeah,
this
there you go.
study is in numerous fixes study. Is that a disadvantage to apply here, or is it not that often?
Well, it's not a disadvantage, but it's also not an advantage. It's a bit weird to say.
Could you specify what you mean with disadvantage and which manner?
Is it harder to get in, or do you need to be like a special grade for something?
I don't know. Are you Dutch?
Yes.
Right. So you have the Dutch BA course and the IBA course. So the BA is not numerous fixes. So if you apply, you're in. That's nice, For this one, you have to go through that procedure, and you have certain grades. You can find them online as well. It's like average grade of 7, those kind of grades. So there are certain criteria. It means that you were tested. It means that there's a certain level of students in there, which makes it maybe a bit more competitive. But it's not a disadvantage. Depends on you. If you can get in with your grades, then that's open to you.
Another question? It's hard for me to see in the sides, but so
I think
there's
down
some
there.
people over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a couple questions.
I've got, sorry.
Next one over there. That's good. Go ahead. Where's the question coming from? Here, the microphone. So we'll do this one, and then we'll move over there.
Okay, I'll start. What's the success rate at the end of year 1?
Ooh. You mean how many people pass the first
Year
year?
2.
I think we can't put like a certain amount of number or percentage on there. I guess most of the people who join IBA drop out already throughout the year because like they realize, hey, IBA is nothing for me. I don't like the international, I don't like, I don't know, the business studies, for example, or whatever. So like they already leave throughout the year. I may say like 80% go on the second year, but it always, like, there are no people who really don't pass the year because they just are bad, or for example, because like I think what I realized from my friends or my environment is that everybody who wants and is interested and wants to pass, they usually go on the second year. So I can't really say the amount of people who just drop out from bad grades or something like that. I think on average, like everybody passes who wants to pass, and yeah.
I can actually, we do have statistics on that.
Okay.
I believe the statistic for last year was about 85% passed the first year in the IBA program.
Or 85.
Yeah, you're almost there.
20%, what's close?
Okay. Okay, we have a couple of questions way over there.
Yeah, just a question on the personal view of the panel over there. What are your expectations after your course? In which kind of fields do you have your careers looking for? That's the first question. And the second question is, we're talking about IBA, so it means international. What are the prospects looking forward to international business from you guys over there? That's what I want to like to know.
So what I know about it, of course I'm not a graduate yet, so I don't really know about the exact career prospects. What I do know is that you have RSM, which have really good master options, really high-ranked master school. So you can do a lot of masters, you can do a career. So a lot of what I know about it is that people come from all over the world and go all over the world. It's an international. It's really nice to have on your CV that you worked in an international atmosphere. You can choose that for your further career. So a lot of people end up in an international environment. And you can do like straight up, you can skip the master, do an MBA later, skip the master entirely. I believe the majority of people do a master here at RSM. Yeah.
Maybe
And the second was
just a little bit more clarification. The international business, does it mean it's only taking place in Rotterdam, or are you going also outside of Rotterdam to pursue the studies? That's what I wanted to know.
You mean the master studies?
Yes.
Yeah. Short question, yeah. But it depends on the students. You can, the diploma is basically valid in a lot of schools all over the world. For masters.
It's basically, you can go worldwide, if you want that.
Yeah, because we have a lot of accreditations. It's triple accredited, so everyone, also if you want to work in America, they will recognize your degree. Personally, I want to develop myself more. I want to get more into the field of marketing. That's my aspiration. And with the internationalization of the course itself, you will read a lot of cases about international companies. And we just had a case with Housing Anywhere, and we also had a guest lecture of a CEO coming here, so that's an international aspect. And I also think that during exchange, we have a lot of partner schools, and there you have the opportunity to also go abroad. But after this, of course, you can pursue a master in another country, but a lot of people decide to do it here because RSM also has very recommended masters, like it's really well recommended.
Yeah, we have 14 specialized master programs, and about 58% of our students choose to stay here and do their master here at RSM. And as the student said, during both our bachelor and our master program, students have the opportunity to do part of their studies abroad at one of our partner programs. So certainly in the IBA program, the majority of our students, I think, will opt in the third year to do an exchange.
Yeah, a lot of people are also like after the bachelor degrees doing like a gap year where they do an internship and then see in which master they pursue. I can't really, I'm like uncertain in which direction I will go, but like I aim, even though I love RSM, try to get a master somewhere else because I want to get all the experience from my personal view, but it always depends on the person. But the options are, I think, really not limited.
We had some more questions, I think, over there.
I think there was.
Hi. In what way is mathematical knowledge applied in the course?
So we have a combination of qualitative as well as quantitative courses from your first year, third year. I'm not really sure about what you mean by how is mathematics applied, because can you just clarify your question again, please?
Well, do you get things like equation, or do you apply it really only in the financial field?
So we have both. So we have, there's the the different functions of business. So there's operations management and supply chain management, which is based on a lot of queuing theory and just pure mathematics. We also have algebraic equations in things like quantitative decision making that require you to look at optimization and how you can, reach a level of efficiency. So it's not only one type of mathematics. It's different maths based on your subjects and based on the courses that you take.
It's basically like, I think in the first year you directly start into a normal math subject where you like relearn the basics, but like get a broad overview of math and just a little bit application questions. But then later on you got finance, accounting, QDM, operations management, and so on, like courses where you have directly to apply your knowledge, or where you also expand your mathematical knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
We have some, maybe one more question there, and then here, and then back in the middle.
Hi, what are the IB requirements to get into the RSM? Are there certain classes you need to take, like high-level maths or economics?
Maybe I want me to answer that?
Yeah,
or,
sure.
Yeah, that's an admissions question. Yeah, for the IB diploma, you need to have, you can have either standard level or higher level mathematics. I know they just changed the IB curriculum, and they have very long mathematic names for these courses, which I can never remember. But there's basically four levels of mathematics for the IB. We accept the highest three. And on our website, you can find more detailed information about the IB diploma, but also, I think, about 70 or 75 other international diplomas in the world. Question over here?
The previous session, we were told that part of the application is either motivation letter or a curriculum vitae. I just have a question how the 4 students applied, and what would be their advice. Do you go for motivation, questions regarding the motivation which you had to fill out, or do you submit your curriculum vitae?
I don't even think that was part of your...
It was like it's changed.
We've changed this every year, so...
Well, I don't actually know, because for the curriculum vitae, the CV, that's... If you have a lot of international experience, you can nicely list everything you did internationally on your CV. Especially if you're Dutch. If you don't have a lot of international experience, and I talk to admissions, and maybe you know that as well, I would go for the motivation questions. But it depends on you. So if you have international experience, you can do with the CV. It's maybe easier.
Yeah, maybe I could elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, the CV, the motivation part, which you can prove either by your CV or the motivation question, is only 25% of the final points. So in the greater scheme of things, your grades carry a lot more weight than the motivation. People often wonder why that is, because there's been a lot of research done actually on study success, and the only thing that actually makes any difference is our grades. But we have to choose something else. This is dictated to us by the Dutch government, so we chose motivation. And what you should choose really depends on you. We look at other things other than just international experience on the CV. We also look at, have you done anything above and beyond what was required of you in your secondary school? Do you have any side jobs? Students who had side jobs and maintained a high GPA, yeah, that says something about how many things you can juggle at once. Students who did tweetalig onderwijs here in the Netherlands, they've already proven that they are really into the international atmosphere. So those are some of the things that we look at. So it's really up to you. I mean, if you've done absolutely nothing outside of your high school, then you might want to go for the motivation question. So then you want to tell us, why, what drives me to want to join a place like here at RSM. But otherwise, CV is a good idea. Another question?
Hello. Can you tell me why are you doing this study, and what's the study about? What you like, dislike, and I'm curious.
I can start off. I decided to study here because it is so general. Again, I like that, and I also like the fact that we have such a diverse classroom. To give you a small example, I come from a very small town, so I did not have an international experience, so I would have actually done the motivation part if I would have applied right now. But as of right now, I'm living with roommates. One of them comes from America, the other one comes from Poland, so it's a lot of different nationalities, and you have the same in your workshops where with 20 people there's a lot of time for discussion, and I really like that you have so many different perspectives which also relate back a bit to the cultural aspects of people.
Yeah, I can add to that. It's the school has a really good reputation. It's one of the reasons. I wanted to develop my English skills, especially in terms of listening and speaking, which really worked out, I think. At least, if you know my level before this, I'll say it that way. And also the international experience was one of the most important reasons why I chose IBA.
I mean, basically, I had the same reasons, so I'm not gonna repeat them again. But like, additionally, what I really loved or liked about IBA was the culture in itself. The people are here, because like when I visited the university, I didn't go to an open day. I just got messaged from a student when I got accepted. Hey, do you have any questions? I said, yeah, maybe can I come by and have a campus tour and so on. He said, yeah, all right, let's do it. And then he explained me about IBA, and that's like, I mean, we have like 650 people or 600 people get accepted. Nevertheless, I didn't feel like a number there just clenched down. I mean, you probably have seen the exam hall. It looks really like pigs going to slaughter. It's not that way, but it's just like what I get from my experience is I go to the professor and he directly answers the questions. It's like they're in direct contact. Or we have Florian Mandatona, our finance professor, who goes with us for a drink after the exams with a couple of students and even pays for one round. So it's like, as a German, I really like that. But that's why I like it's like more, even though we are 650 people, you kind of know everybody, at least you have seen everybody, and it's the culture and the social aspect which I really liked, or why I chose IBA and why I'm happy here.
For me, it was, again, the internationality aspect, like I mentioned before. Also the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to do, except that I wanted to do something in business. And IBA gives you the opportunity to specialize in whatever you want. There's not one path that's dictated to you. So that's why I applied to it. The things I like about the university, like the three of them mentioned, the culture. It's a very nice student buzz that you get around here. Rotterdam as a city is also pretty exciting. I think it's very different from the other major cities where you get a feeling of what it is to be in a student city rather than a tourist city. There's always something to do for students, and yeah, I mean, right now I'm having a good time having a good time doing my extracurriculars, and it's a good balance that I'm having between everything. So I'm pretty happy here right now.
Thank you for your motivation. But waar gaat de studie over? We zitten hier met een hele rij met what's the study about?
We skipped a part of the question.
Yeah, wait. Can we, that's a great question, but we have an entire presentation on exactly that. So maybe they can say it in a little short nutshell. But the next presentation is exactly about what the content of the study is. So maybe short.
Okay, to put it in one sentence, basically you learn about all business aspects like marketing, finance, like the whole around business, and then later in the third year you can specialize a bit. So you get an all-over-around picture about business related.
You get exposure to all functions of business, and then you can decide which one interests you most. That's how I would sum it up.
Yeah, the goal of the program is really to make our students into all-round general managers. So you get a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Some questions in the middle. I don't know where the mic. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So regarding the exchange and internship, where are you guys thinking of going, and did you apply yet?
I'm thinking of going on exchange. I hope to go to South Korea, to Seoul. That really attracts me, but the application process just opened and we still have some time to apply, so I still need to hand in my proof of English and all that types of things, but I hope to go there. That's what I want to do. And maybe take a year after and then do an internship again, because I can't really decide what I like most, so.
I'm currently thinking of doing an internship in France because I wanted to develop my French skills, but I'm still, the process is still just started, so we can go any way still.
I'm deciding to do an internship. I don't know if it's close by to Rotterdam or another country because, I have to see about that, so I haven't applied for that. I mean, for internship, the application varies. Like, if you go into finance, you already have to apply now. But if you go, I don't know, direction of consulting or other directions, you have more time, basically, until the trimester starts, even to find an internship. But regarding, regarding if you want to go on exchange, we already have to decide now where we want to go.
I'm opting for an internship. I want to know what I want to do later on. I'm still pretty confused to what I'm doing. That's in the sense that I don't know what I want to do, but I feel I'll be able to get to know more once I do an internship. As for the exchange, the deadline's coming up in December. I'm not really concerned about that because I'm not looking at it. So it's an internship that I'm looking for, somewhere in the Netherlands preferably.
Over here. How did this university stand out to you in comparison with other universities?
Could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
How did this university in Rotterdam stand out to you in comparison with the other universities in the Netherlands or worldwide?
In the Netherlands, I only considered Dutch universities because at that moment I wasn't really considering international career. Now I am, actually. It was RSM because of the atmosphere. I visited these universities and this felt well for me. I really like the fact that 2/3 is international. I like the rankings and I like the atmosphere, the motivated and dedicated people who study here. That's why I went for RSM.
Yeah, and one of the same reasons for me, that's what really attracted me, because I only looked at Dutch universities too. And the other thing, I also like the fact that we have a campus. So everything, every building, every lesson you have, it's just on this campus. So you don't have to move. Like in Utrecht, I know you have different buildings, so you need to move from one to the other. And our campus is based on and inspired by American campuses. So that's what I really liked too.
Sorry.
No, go.
I forgot what I was going to say, so I just go first.
I applied for Maastricht and Copenhagen, or that was the other two significant universities I considered. I didn't go to Maastricht in the end because was a little bit too German. I think was like 70% German, and was like I really wanted to get the international experience, and in the ranking Erasmus was higher, and as I said, like I decided because I really like the people here, the culture when I visited the university, and it all around was really positive for me.
For me, sorry, it came back to me, sorry. So for me, what happened was when I visited the university on the open day, I got a very good feel about it. Like I mentioned, the student culture and the student buzz. My brother also studied IBA, so whenever I used to come visit him, he used to show me around. He took me to a couple of his lectures. He showed me around the city. So all in all, when I combined the student culture, the atmosphere, as well as the curriculum, it was very appealing to me. So that's why I decided to apply here.
Yeah, this is actually a really good question because a lot of people are kind of overwhelmed with the choice of where you should study. But it's really important, I think, to note that if you want to study in the Netherlands, you really can't make a bad choice of university. Or the University of Applied Sciences are also very excellent here. So really go to several different places, see the difference, and really choose for the culture of the university because we all have a different flavor. Also, the city that you live in is also a very important aspect. So if you think Rotterdam speaks to you, then this is maybe the place to be. But if you think, oh gosh, this is terrible, I'm not comfortable here, that's also good because we really don't want students to come here who don't feel comfortable, who don't feel at home in our RSM culture. So maybe that makes things more difficult for you, but really make sure you feel at home at the university that you choose, because you cannot make a bad choice in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think this is really important. If you want to study business, you can go to any other universities, because business program, like on the content side, what you get the knowledge, it doesn't differ much. What I think is a little bit more special about RSM is, of course, the international experience. You don't have that, I think, in any other universities around here, and like the practical experience that is really applied. I know in the first year you got the course where you write a strategic business plan for a company and you go out. It's not exams, only assignments. It's really nice, the practical experience.
We have a question here.
how modular is your grading? So for example, you mentioned before that sometimes people there are just learning at the lab for the exams. You have workshops, and the grading system is based on the person giving the exams. Is it weighted average or is it static?
It's basically the Dutch grading system from 1 to 10. It's like some courses are like, in terms of assignment, it's like the old Dutch standard where they say 10 is perfect, nobody's perfect, nobody gets a 10. But other courses, like where you have exams and multiple choice questions, you can get a 10 if you have all questions right. I'm not sure what you really mean with modular aesthetic, but like it's like if you're 8 and above, you're already really good. And I don't know, you're not from the Netherlands, are you? Oh, okay.
Modular max is that there are 100 people giving the test. If 60% of them they cannot score above 75, then the person who is on the 25% more, he gets low grades, or it is how much the scale is being shifted.
No, it's really what you get. That's what you get.
It's not scaled.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not. That's not how it works. It's 1 to 10 average. That's it.
Yeah, and it's, I know for example, in the United States, it's very common. You have a bell curve, and then your grade is relative to your fellow students. But at RSM, we do not do that. So your grade is your grade. If everyone gets a 10, then everyone gets a 10. Someone's waving up there.
Yeah. How did you experience the first year? Like, was it new to you, and was it hard? And what subjects were hard for you?
Deep questions.
It was pretty hard for me, but to some extent it was hard. Other things I really enjoyed. I had trouble with mathematics because I did not really like that. But that was fine because everyone is in the same boat, and because you're with your fellow students who also experience that they need to actually obtain all their points. You study together, you have your student advisors who will help you out if you don't get anything, and you also have a mentor program which links you to a second-year student, and he or she helps you with easing the transition process. But for me, looking back on it right now, it was very learningful, very exciting, met many new people, but sometimes it was hard, but the university helps you out with that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Give your international experience.
For me, it could be stressful. It was a lot of self-study, but if you keep up, and you will have to learn something about time management, and you have to get used to how you study best, then you'll get through. That's it. If you're in, you will get through. If you keep on track, that's the most important thing, I think.
For my first year, I feel there were some subjects that I was familiar with that I had gotten a taste for in high school. So those subjects, they came to me pretty easily. But there were also some subjects that I was doing for the first time, which I did struggle with, a couple of them. But I did find them interesting, and I saw that I liked most of the subjects that I found tough. So it made me, push further to do well in those. So academically, it has been challenging, but apart from just academically, it's the idea of you living alone and just experiencing everything on your own, not living without your parents, and just having to prepare your own food or take care of your own laundry and everything. So when you factor all of that in, I would say for me it was a tough time. The first few months it was a tough time settling in, but it gradually got better, and with that, academics also got better, and it's been pretty decent right now, I would say.
I think I pretty much loved the first year. After settling in the first 1-2 months and see what is expected of me, which courses are where I have to spend more time, and I figured out I had to figure out the way I learned. I think I pivoted or changed my way of learning 4 or 5 times until I found my way how to do it. But yeah, sometimes it's a little bit challenging. Of course, you have to concentrate on the courses. End terms are approaching 2-3 exams, but also in between, you have a lot of time. I decided in my first year to do in the end an internship simultaneously to my studies, which was also full time, and I had some other work jobs to do. So I got my schedule was really full, but I still managed it and still had my social experience. Went out. I totally loved my first year.
We have time for a couple more questions.
To what extent do you find that the IBA program prepares you for the future of work? because as I have previously just learned in a previous presentation here in the university, even in the next 5 years, technology is going to impact business more and more. And to what extent do you, as IBA students, address this upcoming problem?
We actually have a course in which we cooperate with University of Delft, Technical University of Delft. So we'll work with students of that. I think that's the most clear example of how they prepare us for that. And there are also, of course, it's in organizational theory, and it's really a hot topic, of course. Yeah, it will be discussed.
I think usually the professors adapt a little bit the courses if something changes, and like usually they put like the courses, the curriculum is itself, but like the real life examples they give in the theory courses, it changes. All the practical assignments you get, it changes. So they always adapt to the current content. For example, of course, we have now philosophy of science, where we had the assignment about big data, like the collection of data, and this was like last year. I think they had a different assignment, so it always changes and adapts to the environment of the time.
Next question?
Yeah. A question, how is your lecture like? Is it more like a typical lecture? Is it more case study based? Is it more group work? Or is it a mix of all? I mean, how is the subject taught?
Depends on the subject. Sometimes you have a subject with assignments, you need to form a group, and then you work on an assignment, which is a case study to some extent. Sometimes we get that, but for other lectures, we just sit in a big room like this, and we listen to what the lecturer has to say, or they invite other professors about the subject who are knowledgeable about it. So it very much depends, but there's a lot of variety with each course. So when you go into a new block, you will see a lot of new courses, and it again depends on the course. But most of them sometimes have workshops, which is more personal, professional development. You will learn how to develop your CV, write academic, that's in small groups, that's also in your first year. So that's more personal, and then you have other subjects, which are big lectures.
I think every course is unique to that. Like you can't say this is the structure, how they structure the whole program. No, everything course is unique. Every professor approaches differently. Everyone has a different teaching style, and so you can't really put a recipe on that.
We have time for about 2 more questions, I think. So here's
hi. I talked to people who study here at Erasmus and also who dropped out of international business here. Okay. And they tend to say that this is a highly competitive and graded environment. So I guess my question is, like, do you guys agree with such a statement? And if not, could you elaborate a little bit on the environment besides the whole international environment, which is great, but that was already established? So
can you repeat?
So basically, like, do you agree that this is like very competitive and graded, like grade-based environment in the sense, or no?
I would say it is to an extent. Obviously, it's university. It's a big jump from high school, so it's focused on what you can do and focused on how you can work through certain things. As far as the studying goes, it is intense. You have quite a bit of workload, quite a bit of self-studying to do, and it is competitive. I don't know how else to go around that. It is a competitive environment. So.
You specifically, you were an IB student, right? Yes. How was the transition for you from like high school to?
For me, the transition. So there were things in the IB that I learned which are very helpful in IBA, especially when it comes to assignments. You have a certain advantage, I'd say, when it comes to preparing certain presentations or doing assignments. So you have a certain way of working. You know how to manage your time because you've done CAS, you've done an extended essay and everything else in addition to your studies. So when it comes to time management, I think you do have an edge coming into the IBA program, but that doesn't make it less competitive. You still have to make sure you're on top of your work and you're following up on what you need to do, preparing for your exams, doing assignments, and doing what is needed to be done to get the grade.
I think in terms of competitors, you're not really, of course, you're a little bit competing. You compare yourself to your peers and see how am I doing compared to them. And in this terms, it's a little bit competitive. Nevertheless, I think it's also a lot of collaboration in between the students. Like, I don't know, we have a big WhatsApp group. If somebody has a question, hey, can you explain me that? Somebody comes and, hey, this is how we do. Or you can approach like every student, hey, can you help me with that? So in this terms, of course, you always try to depending on your personality, to exceed and be good at it. But also, like, a lot of people, when you're struggling, you always get the help. Like, I've never found a student which was totally helpless there because, like, the help was always provided.
Yeah, so it's not like a battlefield, basically. You make friends, you collaborate with students, you help each other out.
It's a community.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the reasons why we have the admissions requirements that we have. You do need a high level of mathematics, or English needs to be good, otherwise you don't understand the classes. And so these are some of the things that we have used in making the selection criteria. So if you meet the criteria, there should be no reason why you shouldn't succeed here at RSM. One more question?
So, hi, how are the teachers here? Are they international or mostly Dutch?
Both. Yeah, first depends a bit on the block. First block was lots of Dutch, and now we have a lot of international students, especially workshops have a lot of international, teachers, not students, professors. It's both, it's mixed.
And just one more question, please. What are the academic requirements for IB?
Again, these on our website, we have a very detailed section where you can find the specific requirements for about 75 different international diplomas. So the best place is to check out our website. That's all we have time for today. I would like to thank everyone for being here. And if you have any more questions, stand.